Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Isus here with the Van Bros. Today, uh, we're gonna talk about my wish list for the next Cardfight Vanguard anime. I made this little mock-up to kind of show some things about what I'd like to see happen with the next Cardfight Vanguard anime. The first one, and I think one that a lot of people will probably agree with, is I want the main character to have a personality. I think it's been a while since we've had a character that had some sort of personality or depth. Like, the D era anime has had some pretty bad characters introduced to the group of characters that the Vanguard franchise as a whole has given us. And that's not to say that we don't have characters that, from the original series that are more than just a one-dimensional, like, being. But with the D series, I think a lot of characters have suffered from becoming just fodder for the characters that sell the most merch. Like, it's no, like, mystery that Michiru has become, like, quite the fan favorite because his voice actor is a famous idol in Japan. Same thing with Akina. And you see, like, characters be propped up because of the fact that, like, hey, if we include these guys, that means their fans are gonna watch. Which, yes, obviously that's why you hire a famous voice actor, because in some way or another you want their fans to watch the series. But I don't know, to me, Vanguard was character first, everything else second. With the original series, you had a character like Aichi who was honestly very similar to the most famous, like, counterpart that he has, which is Yugi Moto. They're both the first protagonists of their franchise's anime. They both are Yugi was in high school, Aichi was a middle schooler, but they're both shy, small, timid kids whose rival has an affinity for dragons. And throughout the series, like Yugi, well, maybe not Yugi as much, but definitely, like, towards the end, Aichi and Yugi both grow to become more confident and are considered to be, like, masters at the game that they play. Aichi's route was a bit more, like, direct, whereas Yugi's was a little less so. Like, honestly, if you compare Yugi's, like, Yugi was already a pretty decent, like gamer, hence the title King of Games, like, plural. Like, you put that kid anywhere and you have him play chess, checkers, whatever fucking other Monopoly, he'll figure it out, he'll get the game going. And they kind of show you that by people seeking him out for support and learning how to play the game, kind of like how Joey reached out to him. But the reason I bring this up is because that's just one character. Aichi is a kid who's similar but very different. Aichi is a beginner, doesn't know how to play Vanguard. He takes some time to actually learn the game properly. And in that time, he gains friends. He gains friends. Not only that, but he also learns how to build a deck. He takes the audience with him, a very fresh audience of the game, and together you learn with Aichi how to play the game. By the time the series is over, you are both masters of your craft, kinda, but you understand the game more. It's less so learning, more so figuring out different techniques, different playstyles. Now, throughout the rest of the series, season 2, Aichi kind of gets reset. Season 3, he grows from that reset, and now he has the adaptability that he learned from Season 2, learning a new playstyle, a new deck, after getting super confident and comfortable with his Royal Paladins, to the point where even the Royal Paladins, in a supernatural way, joined Gold Paladins, and now Haichi can play both his adapted style from Golds with the units that he got comfortable with. Season 4 happens, and then the movie, and that's all we hear from Aichi, and in comes the next main character, which is Chrono Shindo. Chrono is a great character because, unlike Aichi, Chrono is also a beginner, but he doesn't want to learn how to play Vanguard initially. Initially, he comes in to sell the cards that he was given, and throughout that point, people realize that the cards he has are super rare because nobody has ever heard of that clan before, which is Gear Chronicle. But Chrono is a rough kid. Chrono, from the start, you kind of get the sense he's like a delinquent with a heart of gold type of character. And, he could have been, but we actually end up getting somebody kind of similar to that in the mid-season of G Next with Kazuma. But with Chrono, it was different. Chrono actually had depth in the sense of this is a kid who has a chip on his shoulders because he feels the need that he has to pay back his aunt for taking care of him, and essentially he blames himself for her not having the life that she should because she has to take care of him because his mom and dad aren't in the picture. And then because of that, he's taken to doing things on his own. He doesn't take help from anybody, and his whole character arc in G is to learn to confide in others. That's why, unlike in Vanguard, where the original series, where it was more so the character had their problem that they had to face and sort of learn from themselves. In this one, they emphasize team structures. They have team fights. Chrono is forced to go into a team, and so everything becomes more team based because Chrono has to learn how to work with others and open himself up to people again. It's a great series. Honestly, G is probably the peak of Vanguard anime, especially more so towards the middle of G. Man, I gotta rewatch G Next and GZ. I don't remember liking GZ that much, but there will be a rewatch, and I will be doing a Cardfight Vanguard rewatch soon where I post clips here. From there, we also have I'm gonna skip the 2018 because it's literally just a worse version of the 2011 anime. There's no redeeming that pile of garbage. But the best thing to come out of V is the Shinamon arc. Honestly, had they gone from G to Shinamon, and you could still give Shin your the Astral Poets, that would have been fine. But had they gone from G to Shinamon, oh my god, we'd be living in fucking high society. Shin's great. He is an awesome character. Off the bat, Shin already has so much to deal with, taking care of his niece, making sure that the shop that he inherits from his brother is taken care of, even though the kid is just a high schooler. Talk about, it is a struggle fest for Shin. And that's another series I gotta watch again. But let's fast forward, right? I talked so much about Aichi and Shin and Chrono, especially Chrono, and even Yugi. I snuck in a little Yugi in there, but I talked about those characters, and now let's talk about the D characters. You have Yu, a character who was framed up to be a character who was supposed to learn how to say no. As in, his sisters force him to cross-dress, which was weirdly made into a promotional thing. I'm all for representation, especially for people who identify as the different gender. I'm an ally for all of that. But it wasn't really that deep for Yu Yu. Like, I think the reason they made him cross-dress was so they could sell merch of him dressed as his girl counterpart. There wasn't a big part of his story. All it was, this kid has to learn how to say no to his sisters who use him as like a dress-up doll. And aside from that, like, yeah, he also learns Vanguard. So we have a pretty normal trait of characters who learn how to play the card game. And that's how the audience kind of they use them as a vehicle to explore this world. But I think long ago, when the first episode came out, it was kind of cool the way that they showed off that first card fight of Donji versus Toya. Because they didn't play the game like actually play the game. Yu Yu was just imagining the fucking fight, and that's why you saw like the beautiful animation of Bastion and Bruce just duking it out in that football field. And I think somebody said, back when the first episode reactions were happening, somebody said this is perfect because he doesn't know how the game works, but he does imagine the two units fighting each other. Kind of like how like a spectator doesn't really know what's going on if it's their first card fight that they're watching, but they're imagining the units fighting. Like, you don't need to know what a card does to imagine a unit attacking another. But then they fumbled hard. They made that season unwatchable because everything was a slice of life with no actual card. Like, I think the amount of times you see a card on a playmat is like, you could probably throughout the entirety of the franchise or the entirety of that one season, you could probably make 20 minutes of the actual cards on the mat in all the episodes that they were given. Yu Yu doesn't really have that much like depth. He learns a lesson that like, you have to know how to fight your opponent. You can't just do things on your own and yada yada. Like, Will Dress is such a... I swear, man. It's such a forgettable season. And honestly, I think I feel like D for Vanguard is like the solo leveling era. Where it's like cool units and like just aura farming. It like, they just... The Sukuga that they have for these fights, like the beautiful animation, it's just that. It's literally just beautiful animation. There's no depth to the card fights. There was no depth to the characters. It's just this character plays this deck, and because they appeared in this episode, next Tuesday we're going to show off what their deck does. And I don't know. I think that's a little lame. I'm going to skip over Will Dress and Overdress because those seasons are kind of crap. Go into D, where most people kind of started this, unfortunately. And D was not better. D was okay. Season 1, I'm not going to cap, I was pretty hyped for Season 1, and there were moments throughout the season that was pretty hyped. But I glanced back at the game and the anime during that era, that period of time, and the first half of D was exciting because we got like a new mechanic in Divine Skill, which was a first for the franchise, a skill that you can only do once a game. We got new units, we got a new resource and energy. For the first time, you started seeing Vanguards that weren't name restricted, that were pretty generic, which was also really cool. But then, like, you see all that, and then the anime, and it's like, okay, let's look at our main character. Akina looks cool, I guess. He's just Yu Yu with a fucking, like, little streak of white and red hair, which I guess will never get addressed. I don't know why he has that, but whatever. Yeah, you have Akina. It looks just like Yu Yu. The only minimal difference is just, I think, the eye color and the fucking little white tuft of hair. wearing whatever is available at Uniqlo, and his character, like, description is a guy that doesn't play Vanguard, who's learning it for the very first time, knows of it because his sister's a fanatic. He works part-time. He's a student with friends. He has a little sister who has a sickness. His dad works too much. His mom ran away from the family. And he takes care of his sister. That's like his priority number one. Because of that, he's overworking himself by, doing all the household chores. Keep making sure that his sister is properly fed, as well as working part-time to have enough money to assist with, I don't know if it's medical bills or just to make sure his dad doesn't have to work too hard for them. He decides to start playing Vanguard because he enters a tournament where his sister is a cure for her is available or is possible because the price is a wish. So, like, I don't know. To me, it's interesting that you have a character with this much, like, going on. Very similar to Chrono, where, you kind of could have given him a chip on his shoulder, like, oh yeah, like, I'm actually, like, imagine if you had a fucking episode where the kid breaks down. He's like, I'm overworking myself, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all that, and, like, it's a thankless job, really, it is. Not really, because his sister and dad constantly do thank him, but, like, maybe you could have, like, a thing where, like, maybe his dad is forcing him to be like that, or his sister doesn't exactly, like understand it, but, like, the thing is, there's no drama to Akina. And so the problem with Divines is Akina, past all that, as soon as that problem is figured out, what is his drive to continue playing Vanguard? There isn't any. The kid just, and that's why I'm gonna tell you this right now. The worst Cardfight Vanguard season is not Season 2, like the original Season 2, or even Legion. I think the worst season of Cardfight Vanguard is Cardfight Vanguard Divines Season, like, it's gotta be Overdress Season 1, Divine Season 3, and 4. The main reason is because Season 3 of Divines opens up with a guy going like, why do you play Vanguard? And the kid's like flabbergasted. He's like, oh yeah, you're right, why do I play this fucking game? And, like, you're at, like, imagine, like, your card fight. Imagine the card game you're a commercial for. Imagine the card game you're trying to sell. And one of your characters asks the main character, why do you even play this game? I was expecting, what's his name? The useless, the most useless fucking, like, guide character. I was expecting Bro to, I don't know, like, tell, like, Akina, like, what do you play Vanguard? You could be playing Gundam or One Piece. And I guess at the end of the day, yeah, it's true. Why is Bro not playing Gundam or One Piece? No, he's like, what do you play Vanguard? Saying you like Vanguard or asking to play Vanguard could kill somebody. And it's like, oh, God, fucking kill me now. But yeah, Season 3 was crap because, like, you also, not only did you bring in a bunch of previous characters to just kind of be fodder for the new characters that you're introducing, but you also brought in, like, you also decide to release some of the most disgusting cards ever printed in that era. And so, like, you have the worst era of Vanguard in the TCG right next to the worst fucking anime, like, for Vanguard. And so, like, I think that's why 2025 Cardfight Vanguard was so shit. It's got to be, like, one of the worst years for the franchise. And what can you do? So aside from that, I kind of segmented away from characters and more so into settings and plot. But I'm gonna say this. I don't think you need to have like full like on like 64 episode seasons of the anime again. Clearly the industry is moving away from like the full on like non-stop anime for like 64 episodes down to like 12 core episode seasons, which is fine. You kind of need to do something like that, otherwise like you're gonna get crap animation and you're probably going to be stuck with more filler than you'd like. I'm one of those people that understands a series cannot be all gas. You need to have points to kind of settle down and slow down and kind of take in like, oh, these are the characters I like. And the original Vanguard did a pretty good job of that. But I believe what they need to do is plan out their seasons better. And by that I mean not one season, but if you already know you have a new main character, you should know that you need to write an overarching story for multiple seasons. Like, with the power of hindsight, let's use original Cardfight Vanguard, who you could probably cut up into 4 proper arcs. The first 12 episodes of the original Cardfight Vanguard you can use to have Aichi learn how to play the card game, and it ends with them being invited to regionals after winning a shop tournament. The mid-season finale, and I believe you need a mid-season finale, episode 6, needs to be where you kind of get a hint of Psychelia. That is a pretty good way to push the story. The next core is them going to regionals. The mid-season finale is them losing regionals. The back half of season 2, you have Aichi manifest his Psychelia. Season 3, you get evil Aichi. You get Aichi using that Psychelia. Mid-season finale, you have Aichi given, you have Ren give Aichi his Shadow Paladins. And from that midpoint towards the end, or towards the beginning of season 4, Aichi is using Shadow Paladins, and people are noticing that he is no longer the same kid that you liked from season 1. Season 4, like I said, towards the beginning of season 4, Aichi is using his Shadow Paladins, and Kai helps him with Royal Paladins, and that's where you start to see Aichi change from Shadows back to Royals, and kind of create that MLB deck for the finale. Throughout the season, you use that to satisfy whatever plot holes are left over so that you can save the final episodes for the overarching villain, which was introduced during season 2, which is Ren. You allude to Ren in season 1. You show him in season 2, but you don't fight him until maybe season 3 or season 4. Because he is your big bad. He is your overarching villain. The problem with Divines is, if you take Divines, season 1 of Divines is a clash where the main character, a novice at the card game, picks up a deck and beats the person who taught him after a day of training. Now, I understand Cardfight Vanguard is not a hard game whatsoever, but I don't know what to tell you, man. To me, it's just so bullshit. Half the wins that Akina gets. It's so fucking annoying to see this kid get a win that's not deserved because the plot asks for it. He's not given the room to learn from loss. Aichi was given the opportunity to learn from his losses, and he learned from his losses. But Akina doesn't have that. Akina needs to win because if he loses, he's out of the tournament and his sister is not healed. Now season 2. After satisfying his character arc in season 1, now you expect me to believe that the sister that he took care of for years is pissed off at him for not being selfish. And now the people that he faced in season 1 have to face the people in season 2. We're adding in 6 more characters so that they can all fight again. No changes, no big changes to their decks either. At least in the original series, Aichi's deck is evolving throughout the series. He starts with Gansalot, goes to King of Knights Alfred, he even has the fucking ride line, like the Pelennor ride line, not Pelennor. Oh my gosh, the guy that rides up the, like, I think it's like the Generation 3, like the Tsukiyomi ride line. Soul Saber Dragon, and then ends off with Alfred early in MLB. You see his deck evolve. You see Kai's deck evolve. It's Dragonic Overlord. That's the main monster. But he has Toolbox Grade 3s. He has Vortex Dragon, Gatling Dragon, or whatever it's called. Like, he has different units. Same with Misaki. Misaki goes from CEO Amaterasu to Tsukiyomi. Same thing with Kamui. Kamui just has a plethora of Grade 3s. He has Asura Kaiser, fucking Mr. Invincible. And, like, I don't know. Like, you see Season 1 and it's like, okay, how many times you're going to see, like, Akina summon the same fucking units over and over? I understand, yeah, you need to have a set deck list and then include the support as you go. But maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Well, then again, the problem lies with Persona Ride, the worst mechanic of all time in Vanguard, because it doesn't give you the opportunity to change your grade for your ride. So, if the game is in a shit spot, the anime is also going to be in a shit spot, because the anime isn't going to be given room to explore different ways that they could have card fights without it looking the same all the time. Like, there was a cool episode where Aichi was forced to ride a different grade 2 because he couldn't draw into Blaster Blade. And so he had to adapt. So, like, it happens. You can't have that in this because we have a ride line. But if we didn't have, like, the crappiest mechanic known to man, he could still swap over grade 3s. Maybe there's a point where, like, oh, maybe he's given a new Vanguard to try out. That also has a Divine Skill. So now you have to pick which unit to give a Divine Skill to. But yeah, you have that. You have Season 3 and 4. It's just a stupid fucking tournament to sell more cards. Like, there's no point, there's no reason we needed to have a deluxe Season 3. And the thing that pisses me off even more is this guy has not known how to play Vanguard. He has played Vanguard for less than a year. And you expect me to believe he won 2 clashes. One against, like, professionals. Like, he beat the Deluxe 2 runner-up. You expect me to believe he defeated a genius. And you expect me to believe that he managed to luck his way through Swiss, defeat the LeBron James of Cardfight Vanguard, and then defeat his sister from a different universe who has better motivation than he does. Like, it's insane. And so you have 2 useless seasons. Asking, oh, do I play Vanguard? Yeah, play Vanguard. You fucking sell the game. Like, the fucking show is to sell the card game. Why the fuck are you asking, should I play Vanguard? The question should be, what do I get out of Vanguard? Or not even that. Don't even have Vanguard be a fucking question. It's your tool to drive the story. And then you have Paralytic Clash. And Paralytic Clash is so crap. The units are cool, but the show is so crap. No, I know you're living in an illusion world, and I know your parents are back in this one, but our friend, you know, the guy that you don't give a shit about, he's being bullied. I know in this other universe your dad, like, destroyed the family because he embezzled a ton of funds or whatever. He was caught in crime, and now the description says that you hate me for whatever reason, but instead of hating me because, like, maybe it was my dad who's a cop is the one who put your dad in jail, maybe instead of making that the reason, no, it's because I want to be a part of the Paralytic Clash. Like, that is so stupid, by the way. The kid's dad gets arrested. It's a huge, like, it's a huge, like, case, and they could have easily put Akina's dad as a detective that put the guy away. And now the reason this guy hates Akina is because his dad is the reason why he went to prison and destroyed the family. Like, come on, man. You're telling me you planned shit out? Like, they planned out to episode 700. That doesn't fucking show me that. And now, like, you have the finale, and then they do a rug pull at the end, and now there's a fucking movie. Not even a movie, it's just 3 episodes that are going to be releasing in theaters. Dude, get the fuck out of here. that small recap aside, what do I want to see from the next anime? I want the setting to be less real world and more fantastical, kind of like how Buddy Fight, you had the real world. You had like a setting that looked similar to Japan, but I don't even think it was Japan. And if it was a Japan set in the future. The cool thing about that is that like you had like monsters roaming. You had buddy police. You had like the buddies like walking around in their super deformed forms. And like, what's stopping Vanguard from taking advantage of that? Like, set the story years in the future. Make it like 2047 or something. And like, oh yeah, kids can walk around now with their starters. And like, when you start a card fight, it's not in a stupid fucking table in a dark room with a bunch of spotlights. It's like a field. And like, you know, like instead of like, you know, like maybe it's holograms, or maybe you're just calling the units from Cray, like a spiritual version of the unit. I don't know, let's do something to make it look cool. It's a commercial. Doesn't have to be real. If you're selling cards, it's supposed to be a commercial. Yu-Gi-Oh did it, and it was pretty fine. Like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh fucking went crazy when they introduced dual discs. Before it was you needed to sit in a big fucking like field, and like now you had to use the holograms. I don't think there was ever a sit down duel, unless it was like a flashback. But the main thing that I want to see, have the character like, see the one I have here in the little mock-up. Let's give him wacky hair. Let's give him like a cool outfit. Like, I don't know, make it something like Chrono had cool hair. Aichi's hair was alright. It was pretty normal. But Chrono's hair was crazy. Shin's hair was crazy. He's a shonen protagonist. Give him crazy hair. Or make the protagonist a girl. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, most people would be okay with a female protagonist. Now, if you're still advertising to little boys, maybe keep it as a male character, but I'm pretty sure they're no longer into the whole, oh yeah, this is a card game, it's meant for little boys. I'm pretty sure they want to, like, you know, branch out, make it a female main character. If you want, make the rival a boy. But that's one of the things. Make the setting like more fantastical, not like realistic. Have him wear something that's cool, not something that you buy from Uniqlo, and maybe change the outfit. Aichi had like 3 different outfits in rotation, so did Chrono. Chrono had like 5. Like, this kid, like, fucking Akina must have been wearing that musty ass sweater for years at this point. I'm not really going to talk about the card game, but it would be cool to see an anime where they have different, like, mechanics, like Legion and Stride. Like, maybe bring that into the main game and not as encounters. And then that would be pretty cool. Aside from that, keep it 12 episodes. I don't think anybody would really care if it's 12 episodes, but please plan it out. Like, don't have it be a 12 episodes, like it's the, like, all plots get resolved in that episode 12. Leave stuff hanging, like introduce overarching stories that are gonna take seasons to like to resolve, but include small wins. Mid-season finales are important in TV because once you reach that mid-season finale, it stops being like happy-go-lucky and more into let's lock in. And sometimes it works, sometimes it fails, but majority of the time, in my opinion, it works. Anyways, it's been almost 35 minutes of me yapping. I already got my point across. Let me know down below what you want to see for the next anime. Do you want to see like different mechanics? Do you want to see different types of characters? Do you want to see old characters return? One thing I'd like to see is maybe have new characters playing other people's decks. Like introduce another character playing Youthberg, or introduce somebody playing like Magnolia, right? Or have them play a version of Magnolia that also works with Leonore. I don't know. I feel like original Vanguard did that pretty well, where like you had characters who used the same decks, but not necessarily, oh, it's like the same nation. No, it's the same deck. But they just played it a little differently. But yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day, week, month, or life. And comment down below what your opinions are on this video. Thank you.